Welcome to another episode of React and TypeScript tutorial series. In this video, we're going to learn about styling a React components. We have written one simple React application. We added multiple pages. In the page 1, we are adding some text and some buttons, but we have not added any styles. Let me just open the code. This is the page 1 component where I have written one user. So this user component is printing the first name and last name, and after that I'm adding some link to go to some other page. Now the question is how to add styles in this. So first let's talk about inline styling. In HTML, if you want to add some styles, you can write style equals to some style like color red, something like that, but that will not work in React. You can definitely see that there's an error. Style cannot be a string. So in React, actually, this style property will accept objects only. So suppose you want to add some styles like color red, you have to pass one object. So in React, if you want to add some JavaScript inside JSX, how we will write? We have to use the curly braces, and after that I'm adding one object, right? So this is one style object. Here you can add color. Now if I refresh the page, you can see the link has become red. Now can you notice some differences between HTML styles and the styles you write in React? The one difference is that this one is an object, one plain JavaScript object, and that's why we have to add this quotation here. So this is simply one JavaScript object. That means you have to write key and then value. And if you want to add something like background color equals to maybe blue, can you see one error? Because this is not a valid JavaScript object. In JavaScript object, you cannot directly write like hyphen here in the key name. So that is the difference. In React, if you want to write styles like this, you have to use camel case. So instead of background hyphen color, that is snake case, we have to write camel case background color, and now it is working. And also notice that I am not adding any semicolon here, because we cannot write semicolon inside one object, because this is one plain JavaScript object. So what is happening behind the scenes? So React is converting this style to plain HTML CSS. So if I check this component, if I inspect it, you can find out that it's converting style equals to color red and background hyphen color equals to blue. So React is doing the conversion behind the scenes. So that is one way, but definitely will not write this kind of inline styles everywhere. We want to separate the style from the component. So another way of writing any styles is just adding CSS like plain HTML, right? So we can add something like, this is a page1.tsx, right? We can write something like page1.css. Now in this page1.css, I can add some styles. I'm going to remove these inline styles for now. So in this page1.css, I can add some class name dot, let's say dot link color, and I'm going to add some color to red. Can you notice that we don't have to write the quotation mark here, because this is plain CSS. And also you can notice that I have ended this line with the semicolon. This is plain CSS. Now how will you use this? How will you import this and add this page1.css into this page1? So for that we have to use the style loader. The configuration is already there in your system. If you have initialized the project with create React app, the configuration will be there. So all you have to do is just import the file. So import the file like this, import page1.css, and then this styles will be included, but you have to use the class name, right? So I added this class link color, so you have to add this link color over here. If I try to add like this, you can see there is an error. The error is that the property class does not exist. Also, the class is a reserved keyword in JavaScript, right? Because if you use class like this, class, then you can create some class. So class is a reserved keyword. You cannot use class inside JavaScript. So instead of adding class, you have to use class name. So React added this class name property for every elements, HTML like elements, so that you can write some class. Because class is a reserved keyword, that's why they have changed the name from class to class name. So now everything should work fine. You can see that the link has become red. So first we have seen that you can add inline styling, and then you can add import CSS. The third way is using CSS modules. So CSS modules are like modular way of writing CSS. So at first let's see what is the problem of writing normal plain CSS. So you must be knowing that CSS is global, right? So you have added link color. This link color will affect other components also. So suppose in page 1 I have added this page 1.css. Now suppose I'm going to page 2. I don't know if I have page 2. Let's see. I don't have page 2, I guess. I have page 2, but it's not linked. Okay, let's add page 2 here. So suppose in page 2 I'm adding this class in the link. You can see that I can have the same link color here, even though I'm not importing the link the page 1.css inside this page 2, but still those CSS is available, right? So that's the problem, right? Everything we write in CSS that becomes global. So to avoid that, we can use CSS modules. CSS modules is just add some namespaces. So let me explain how. So instead of writing like page1.css, I'm going to add say page1.module, and that will make this component as a CSS module. I'll show you how. If you're using TypeScript, you have to add some file called typings.d.ts. This is the type definition. I will explain how it works in some other video, but for this video we're focusing on the styles, right? So I'll just add. So our file name pattern is module.css. So I'm declaring one type, declare. So this is how we tell TypeScript that this kind of files are CSS modules. So don't worry about this. I'll explain the typings file later in some other video. So for now we're focusing on only the styles, right? So we have added one module, CSS module, and then if you want to import that, you have to import the styles from here. So styles from page1.css. Now see, we are not only importing it, but importing it and assigning the values in this style variable. And that's why CSS modules are so powerful, because it is not pushing everything to the global namespace. Whatever is there in the page 1 module, we are getting that inside these variables, styles, right? And then you can use any class names from these styles. So suppose I want to add the class name here, I can add link color like this, styles dot link color. Now if I go to page 1, this is still working, but if I go to page 2, you can see that that link color is not available here, but in the page 1 it is available, because only in page 1 I have imported these styles. Now what is happening behind the scenes? If you inspect this link, you can see that the class name is not link color. It has added some namespace like page1 underscore, and then after that it added some other random value. That means your styles are contained in one module and it will not leak outside. So that is a very powerful way of writing CSS. Now there is another way of writing CSS in React applications, that is called CSS in JS. So this is one very popular framework called JSS that uses CSS in JS. So this is basically you write all your CSS in JS, but I don't think this is very popular and you may not need it, but I'll cover it in some other video if required. But I think most of people are writing plain CSS or CSS modules. I have not used it in any project. I'll cover it in some other video. So there's another point I wanted to cover, that is one class name package in React. This is one package, class names. This is used for maintaining multiple classes in your React application. So I'll explain why it is required. So suppose we want to add multiple classes in this, right? So in HTML, how you add multiple classes? You add classes separated by a space, right? The same way, suppose in this module, I'm going to add another class. Let's say it is CSS font. So I'm going to add some font size, very big size, maybe 40 px. It's too big. Let's say how it works. So in page 1, I'm going to add it. So I have this link color, and then plus and some blank space, then styles dot link font, right? What is the error? This is TypeScript, so link color type is empty, it is any. So I can wrap it with as string. So every time you want to add multiple classes, you have to concatenate it in this way. So that's why this class name modules can be used. So in the page, so let me install that first. In pm install save, what is the name? Class names. All right, this is installed. Let's start it. Okay, now I can import class names. Now using this class name function, you can concatenate multiple classes. Like suppose I want to add here, let's add it here. Class names, you can pass one object. So these are the different ways of adding this class names. You can just pass two variables, styles dot link color and styles dot link font. See if it is working. Yeah, it is working. So not only this, you can use this in many different ways. Like suppose in this example, we can pass multiple classes, and depending on conditions, you can set true or false. So suppose you want to hide some classes dynamically, you can use this kind of syntaxes. So this is pretty useful. You can use it in your React application if you want. So that's it for today's video. If you liked it, please hit like and let me know in the comment section if you have any questions. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.